Hello everyone. For this lesson, we are going to continue working on combinations of function. Number 10. It asks you to graph f plus g. First, let's find out what's f. What is the g? To graph g and f, we are going to use a specific x value to plot the point. First, I am going to decide the numbers of x. It can be any random number. I choose to have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So I picked the 5 numbers to plot the points on the graph. Now let's find the value of f of x. F of x is equal to x. Therefore, when x is -2, f of x will be -2. And when x is -1, -1, and 0, 1, 2. So those are the values of f of x. G of x is equal to 4 minus x squared. So we need to replace x with the given x and to find the value of g of x. Let's first find the value of g of -2. So you will have 4 minus, and then your x is -2 squared. And then if we simplify this, 4 minus, and -2 squared is a 4. So it becomes a 0. And then now we are going to find g of -1. So 4 minus -1 squared. And then it will be 4 minus, again, -1 squared is a 1, which is a 3. Okay, and I'm going to continue working on each x value. So for 0, 0 squared, and 4 minus a 0, which is a 4, and g of 1 equal 4 minus 1 squared, which is 4 minus 1, 3, and g of 2, 4 minus 2 squared, 4 minus 4, which is a 0. So now we got the value of f of x, and then we got the value of g of x. Okay, and based on this, you are going to find the f of x plus g of x. Okay, all right, so first ones, okay. Okay, f plus g, where x is equal to -2, it will be -2 plus 0. Okay, so when x is -2, your f of x was -2, so we have that here, and your g of x was 0, so we got here. Okay, so that's our first f of x plus g of x, which is equal to -2. Okay, and we're going to continue doing that. So -1 for f of x plus 3, which is 2, 0 plus 4, 4, 1 plus 3, 4, and 2 plus 0, which is 2. Okay, so we got the values of f plus g. Okay, and then now it's time to plot them on the graph. Okay, for first, when you have x is -2, your y will be -2. So we're gonna plot -2, -2. What's this right here? Okay. Second point, when x is -1, your y is 2. So -1, 2. What is right here? Okay, -1 and 2. And then now when x is a 0, your y is a 4. So when x is a 0, your y is a 4. And for next one, when x is 1, your y is 4. So add 1. Okay, it's 4. And then when it's 2, okay, your y is 2. Okay, it's 2. When x is 2, it is also 2. Okay, and then I think we are going to connect them. Okay. All right. Okay, so this will be the graph for f of x plus g of x. For number 15 and 18, we are going to find the functions of f and g using the idea h function is equal to f composed with g functions. For number 16, your h function is equal to absolute value of x squared minus 3. So your f composed with g of x is equal to absolute value of x to the 5th power minus 3. So now we need to split them into two different functions. So there are a lot of different ways of working on this, but now based on this function, what I am seeing is I see two functions, which is absolute value, that's a one function that I'm seeing, and also x to the 5th power minus 3. So I'm going to assume f of x is equal to absolute value of x and g of x is equal to x to the 5th power minus 3. And for that case, I want to check if it's true that f of g of x is equal to the same function that we're having here. Okay. All right, so let's check on this. All right, so our f of x was absolute value of x. So therefore, f of g of x will be equal to absolute value of g of x. Okay, so your x got replaced. And then your g of x was x to the 5th power, okay, x to the 5th power minus 3. Okay, so I am going to replace my g of x with x to the 5th power minus 3. So it will be absolute value of your g of x, which is x to the 5th power minus 3. All right, so now let's compare these functions with the beginning. So our original functions was absolute value of x to the 5th power minus 3. Yes, we also do have the same function. Okay, so based on this, okay, now we can conclude that f of x is equal to absolute value and g of x is equal to x to the 5th power minus 3. Okay, for 18, we also looking for what is f of x and what is g of x. And then f of g of x is a given, which is x squared plus 1 squared. Okay. From this function, I see two different functions. So one is x squared. Okay, I see that from this parenthesis. Okay, and then the other function is x squared plus 1. So for this case, I am going to assume f of x is equal to x squared and g of x is equal to x squared plus 1. Okay, and let's check if it is true. So I'm going to check if it's true. F of x is x squared. Then f of g of x will be equal to, now I'm replacing this x with g of x. So then you have g of x squared. So x got replaced with g of x. And g of x was x squared plus 1. So it will be f of x squared plus 1. And then also it will be x squared plus 1 squared. So g of x got replaced with x squared. And then yes, we do see the same functions as the beginning. Okay, so yes, we prove that your f of x is equal to x squared and g of x is x squared plus 1.